Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Virginia Commonwealth University Rehabilitation Research and Training Center on the Employment of Transition-Age Youth with Disabilities State of the Science Conference. We are excited that you can join us today at our virtual conference, which was made possible by the funding of our grant from the National Institute on Disability, Independent Living, and Rehabilitation Research. My name is Dr. Stephanie Lau. I am an Asian female with short black hair, and today I'm wearing a black sweater and black shirt. I am a project co-coordinator for the RRTC on employment of transition-age youth with disabilities, along with my colleague, Dr. Susan McKelvey. For the next 2 days, I will be serving as the moderator for this event. While the world has largely returned to in-person conferences, and as much as we love that interpersonal connection, we decided to use a virtual format for our State of the Science in order to reach as many people as possible. And in fact, we have a lot of people from all over registered and here with us today. We are so glad to have you all join us. You're going to hear some great presentations about the studies that have been part of our grant. Please note that today is day 1 of 2. We will use the same link for tomorrow's presentation as well. Now, before we get started, I would like to provide some housekeeping details. We have over 1,200 people registered for this conference. Because we have so many people joining, all audience members have been automatically muted and their cameras have been turned off. We are using Zoom webinar for this event, which is a little different from the traditional Zoom meeting platform. In the webinar platform, there are 2 ways for you to communicate with us, the chat and the question and answer feature. Please use the chat function if you have any technical questions. We have an amazing technology team. Terry Blankenship, Lucian Friel, and Alia El Nasa will be monitoring both of these features. So if you have any technical issues, please use the chat, or you can also email Lucian Friel or Terry Blankenship at their emails, which you see here on their website or on our presentation. Okay. If during any presentation today you have questions for the presenters, please use the Q&A function, also located at the bottom of your screen. Alia will be monitoring the Q&A to put together questions for our presenters. If you would like to access any of the PowerPoint presentations during today's conference, you can click on the link, which Terry will share now in the chat. Captions have also been enabled for this presentation and can be turned on at the bottom of your screen. We are also very lucky today to have ASL interpretation. We will spotlight our interpreters, Rona and Kim, throughout the conference today. Now, because of the number of registrations, there's the chance that when you join today's conference, you are redirected to an overflow room on YouTube. Here, the conference will be broadcast simultaneously, but you will not have access to the Zoom chat or Q&A. Please keep that in mind if you leave and return to the conference at a later point, as you may be redirected to the live stream. Again, please email Lucian or Terry if you have any technical issues while in the live stream. I want to let everyone know that we will also be recording the conference. Please note that no identifying information of any audience participant will be visible. The archived recordings will be available within the next 2 weeks. We will email you the link to access the archives. We are also offering CEUs and CRC credits for your attendance at this event. You will get information on how to receive those credits within the next 2 weeks. Finally, we do not have any breaks scheduled in our conference agenda. Please feel free to get up, stretch, walk around, and take a brief break as needed. Now, at this time, I would like to introduce our principal investigator of the RRTC on employment of transition-age youth with disabilities, Dr. Paul Wehman. Dr. Wehman has been a tenured faculty member with the Virginia Commonwealth University since 1980. As director of the Rehabilitation Research and Training Center and director of the VCU Autism Center for Education, he has written extensively on issues related to transition from school to adulthood and special education as it relates to young adulthood and employment. He is the founding editor-in-chief of the Journal of Vocational Rehabilitation. Dr. Wehman, thank you so much for opening our conference.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Before I get started, at some point in time, Stephanie, you will share with people how they can get access to the CEUs and get credit for that, because I know that a lot of people will probably watch this at different parts of times, and we want to make sure that everybody that wants CEU credit is able to get that. And Stephanie will be able to work with you on that either towards the end of the day or tomorrow. Okay. So yes, my name is Paul Wehman. I am really old, okay, in my 70s. And when I say I'm in my 70s, I'm like, really? I'm in my 70s. Okay. I go by he, him, or his. I'm pretty bald. I'm wearing a blue shirt and a blue sweater and wearing blue eyes as well. Okay. And I am the PI of this, what I consider to be a very important investment that NYLER's made. It's an R&T center on transition for all disabilities, all kids that are coming out of school. And when you look at the investment that the United States Congress has made, even though they're not fully funded, although I keep hearing that they want to do that. I mean, billions of dollars has gone into helping our young people with disabilities unlock their potential. And therefore, the topics that you're going to hear about today and tomorrow were very carefully thought out. Many of you are going to be, I know, very sophisticated in transition from school to work, school to adulthood. And we're expecting to be talking to a pretty sophisticated audience. You will know then, by the very nature of this topic, and perhaps why, you know, we have over 13 people signed up for it, is because there are so many areas that one could do research on or study on. So when I was thinking about this and visualizing what could make the most impact, talking to my staff and my colleagues here and then colleagues around the country, once the actual proposal RFP came out, it was clear to me that, at least in my mind, we wanted to do things that could directly affect change in the lives of young people who were, in one or two cases, coming out of middle school, but for the most part, the latter part of high school, and that we would be able to, frankly, do research studies where we would have our hands on them, working directly with them and their moms and their dads and the advocates, and most importantly themselves, to find out what's working and what's not working. And in several cases, we've been able to do, even with the challenges of the pandemic, randomized studies, not to the fullest extent perhaps that we would have without the pandemic, but sufficiently enough that we've been able to put some controls on why certain things work versus not. And so you'll see things and hear about things, because we're not just going to do graphs and the articles, which we have done a number of articles on, and we will give you those links. but we're going to let you speak with or hear directly the people that we've worked with, so that you get a sense that, well, bluntly, that the whole presentation is more interesting than just listening to a dull talk. Okay. But mostly what the impact is. And so you'll hear about internships, you'll hear about post-secondary education, you'll hear about building capacity in school districts for competitive integrated employment outcomes. You're going to hear about some very intensive case studies with people. Okay. So, and you're going to hear about cognitive technology and how it can be used. And so, please do ask questions in the chat room, and we will do everything in our power to try and pick out the ones that are the most frequent and have some interaction, although it's going to be a little bit hard with, right now I'm staring at almost 500 here. So, but those questions will answer everybody one way or the other. Okay. So with that said, this is great news, because we have some time left, and it gives me just the last second opportunity to specifically thank Stephanie Lau and Susan McKelvey for stepping in on relatively short notice as co-project directors, when Elizabeth Getzel, who was just a fantastic project director and was heavily involved, with me and the team in writing this proposal, retired. So thank you, Stephanie and Susan. And then a very strong special shout out to Hugh Barry, who himself is an expert in transition, has published in this area. I don't want to give up any ages, but I'll just say that as long as I've been in the field, or pretty close to it, I can remember seeing his name on articles with, I think it was Bill Halloran, as a matter of fact. Okay. And some other people in the benefits area. So we've been blessed to have a project officer that understands transition and has paid attention to what we're doing and has been very supportive. So thank you, NIDLR as a whole, and especially Dr. Barry. So with that said, I'll pass it back to Stephanie, and then we will get the ball rolling here.
Thank you, Dr. Wehman, and thank you for your leadership on this RRTC.